Tech Lab Girl, this one's for you.
Howdy roundabouts, hey goosey boys, that's what he's about to say. Stole from him.
Oh, I wish it was higher.
Hey, $10 if you get that reference. Welcome and Merry Pachinomas to all our Shaggy Goose eggs.
Merry Pachinomas.
Merry
Pachinomas.
Which way am I going? Am I going the right way or the wrong way?
You'd lowered it.
Okay, good. That's what I wanted.
Okay.
Chris is playing the ukulele, and it's very loud.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
But Chris is going to be quiet, I bet.
All right. What are we? What Christmas movie are we doing today, boys?
More like the one that Christmas picked out.
Hey, we decided that whenever we make fun of Chris, it's called a crucifixion. Like crucifixion.
Yeah, I fucking got it.
No, what was the other one when he messes up?
Criticism?
Yeah, criticism.
What is that a play on?
Nothing.
Oh. Well, crucifixion was. And
Yeah.
it was
Editor, answer the question.
But yeah, Christmas with the Kranks. We broke a rule. I don't even know if we've ever displayed these rules to you guys, but oh, look at that.
I'll be honest, I've not heard
What?
this rule since the first episode that we recorded.
Which is we can't watch the movie together, and we broke that. But we broke that for the sake of the Christmas holiday.
And for the sake of not pirating.
And for the sake of saving money, because we had to rent it.
Which I would have still pirated it anyway.
Yeah, because Jake's a fucking... He's a...
And girl, let me know if you like that. Anyway.
If you like that he pirates movies...
I'll pirate any movie.
Pirate of Her Caribbean, am I right?
Whoa!
Anyway, let's put this away now.
Okay. Sorry, I got distracted.
Before we even start talking about this, let's get right on into the
recap.
Well,
with the grumble with a crying gun.
Tenacious D flashback. Chris and red body paint. We didn't buy enough.
Alright, so,
Did you cook that at least?
No.
No, they're just cold beans.
I had some really bad chicken parm like 30 minutes ago, and that is really upsetting my stomach.
Alright, Christmas of the...
From what?
From work.
Oh.
Christmas with the Kranks. The movie that is based off of the John Grisham novel, Skipping Christmas. Did you guys know that?
one?
I did know that.
You did? I didn't know
Well,
that
it said it at the
until
beginning of the
Oh, it
movie.
did? Oh,
Yeah.
it does?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that until 30 minutes ago. Alright, anyway. Luther, played by Tim Allen, and Nora, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, who apparently in this movie only has... Never mind.
You know.
They know what I was about to say.
Lab girl knows. Computer lab girl.
Luther and Nora send their daughter Blair off to Peru the Sunday following Thanksgiving. And so they have to send her off. She's been with them, for 23 years of her life, because that's how long she's been in life. And they're like, you know what? We're kind of sad. We're kind of depressed. We don't feel very Christmassy because, it's not going to be the same without our little girl. And so that night is super rainy. Luther has to go into a grocery store to get white chocolate, and he goes in and it's rainy, and there's a dude dressed as Santa Claus being like, "Hey, you need an umbrella?" And he's like, "No, fuck you and your umbrella."
And then it rains on harder.
And it gets rained on harder. He goes into the grocery store, comes back out, and he forgot the white chocolate, which is the only thing that he, was told to get. And I don't know why that whole exchange with the white chocolate isn't there. It's kind of unnecessary, but anyway, he goes back in.
Unnecessary.
Okay. He goes back in, and then Santa Claus is like, "Hey, you need an umbrella," and he's like, "Fuck you and your umbrella!" And then he gets rained on even more because the thing, blah blah blah.
The awning.
The sun center retractable awning retracts on him. And
you can buy it for $800. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and so he gets soaked And
This is Cartoon
but
Network. Why are you advertising this?
But when he gets soaked, he sees a little billboard beside him for a vacation cruise, and he's like, "Whoa!" I can't fucking do it.
Tim Allen?
Yeah. And so that gives him an idea, and then later at work he starts calculating what they spent on Christmas last year for, decorations and presents for everybody, and it was a whopping $6,132. And with that, he's like, okay, let me research how much it would cost to go on this cruise, and he does, and he's like, "Huh?" And so he goes to his wife on the dinner table, and then he, pitches to her like, hey, we spent $6,000 last year. Blair's not here. How about we treat ourselves to a little vacation? Well, how much is it going to cost? $3,000. Well, you mean we save money? Wow. Well, we can't go unless you donate to the church and the charity like we always do, just $600. And Tim Allen's like, no, we're not going to do that. And she's like, well, no cruise. And he's like, okay, we'll do that. And she's like, I'm going to fuck you. Well, it's not even Saturday. And so...
That's tomorrow.
I think I just got whiplash.
And so they both agree to skip Christmas. This is where the shit kicks into play. Luther, instead of, being...
That's where the kids get dropped off at the pool.
That's where I take a shit.
And so, this is where the shit starts to set in. Luther, instead of not really telling anybody his personal business, he goes so far to write out anti-Christmas bah humbug letters to all of his coworkers, saying that he's not going to be here for Christmas, he's not going to give gifts, he's not even going to accept gifts. Fuck Christmas, fuck you all, blah 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 blah. Hands it out to everybody, and they're like, and. And
everybody is Tim Allen in this movie, by the way.
Yeah,
everybody's played by him.
Yeah. And
it's like a Tyler Perry movie.
Similarly, Nora is out with lunch with friends, and one of her friends hears that Tim and them are not going to. Sorry, Luther and them are not going to be doing Christmas, and so this is where everybody starts like acting very cultish and be like, "Well, you're not going to be here for Christmas. What's going to happen? You always throw these parties. What are we going to do without you having the parties? You need to have Christmas." And so Nora and Luther are kind of freaked out at the moment. Mostly Nora, because Luther hasn't experienced Vic yet, but they will in just a little bit. Luther comes home, and he refused to buy a tree from the Boy Scouts. And with that, the Boy Scouts go and tell Dan Aykroyd's character, Vic Frohmeyer, who essentially, runs the council of the entire neighborhood. And with that, Vic confronts Luther later that night, and Luther tells him, hey man, back off, I'm a grown-ass man, I can do what I want. If I don't want to set up Christmas lights and decorations, and so be it. And Vic's like, well, you're not going to look too great with the rest of the neighborhood. Maybe you should put up Frosty. And then Luther's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And the next day...
Mary.
Well, Mary, see, I can't put up Frosty, Mary.
I can't. If I put up Frosty, then I'm going to stay, and I won't be able to... Mary,
you gotta understand, Mary.
Martha!
So anyway, the next day, Vic basically just gathers together a mob to stand out on their fucking lawn and trespass, and they're all chanting, give us Frosty, put up Frosty.
Free Frosty.
And so, yeah, they're being terrorized at this point.
Dude, women?
Okay, at this point, Luther is gone, he's at work. Nora is, calling him afraid, and he's like, well, just, say fuck him.
Well, Mary, just say fuck him, Mary.
And Nora's like, no. And so Nora escapes through the garage, but while she's trying to escape, Vic, like a madman, chases her down in the middle of the road. But she outruns him because she's in a car and he is but a man.
And she's been through Halloween.
Yeah.
And Terminator.
Yeah.
No.
What's that movie that she's in?
She's in
Knives
Terminator.
Out.
But
Jamie Lee Curtis is in Terminator?
She's in one of the newer ones, is she not?
I don't care about the newer ones.
Okay. Alright, anyway.
She's also...
Anything after T2 does not count.
So Luther and Nora eventually at this point, they're like, you know what? All of our neighbors
Freaky
are
Friday.
crazy. Fuck them. We're not even upset that we're leaving for Christmas. You know, fuck them. And so they go to get you know a little spray tan and get in a tanning bed and get prepped for their vacation. And Nora has to put on this very revealing bikini, and they're in the middle of a mall. And she goes and she lays
Some
down.
guy walks in.
She lays down in the tanning bed, and this dude walks in, and I can't impersonate him because I would be canceled. But it's
He's
very,
a white guy.
It's very out of nowhere.
He's an artist. I'm from Brooklyn. He's an artist.
You ever seen The Ringer? Anyway,
You ever seen Rain Man?
all right, guys. So anyway, yeah, he walks in.
Ew! There's so much spit that came out of his mouth, and it's just like there.
He walks in and he's like, oh, blah 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 blah, and then walks out and Nora is frightened and she hits her head and bleeds and then walks out and she's like, oh, I'm bleeding, but she's in the mall. She forgets she's in the mall and her boobies are out and
In a bikini.
in a bikini, but.
I ate a whole can of beans.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
you monster.
I am not ready for the gas that's about to ensue.
Me either. Can you hear my phone?
C4.
and she's walking out, and then who stops by but the priest? Because apparently they're Catholic.
Father Gronkowski.
Yeah, Father Gronkowski is like, Nora, what?
Oh, Nora, why would you do that, Nora?
What are you doing?
why are you
Think of the
movies
children,
out?
Nora.
And instead of realizing, hey, she's in a bikini and she's kind of nervous, he walks closer to her and looks at her boobies because
The music from Scooby-Doo 2, when Shaggy's the woman, that's the music that's playing right now.
Yeah, and he just steps closer and interrogates her about Christmas as she's trying to cover herself up, and then Luther walks in wearing a Speedo, and it's very embarrassing for them, and so they go home and they found out that they made the front page. Somebody took a picture of them in their bikinis, and the headline says, "Oh, this family is skipping Christmas. Pay attention to them." And
this family's skipping Christmas, Mary.
and also their house is on the front page as well because their neighbor, Walter, who doesn't really like Luther for some reason, but is probably just grouchy because his wife has cancer.
True.
Told the press that where his house was and that they could take pictures and da-da-da-da-da. Also, Walt and Beverly, the neighbor couple, have a cat that doesn't like Luther very much.
Yeah.
And that comes into play because now Luther is extremely angry and he hates everybody and he puts ice all over his sidewalk because that night also Walter basically just sicked a caroling team on them who essentially just terrorized them because they were like looking through their windows and shit and just constantly like trying to get them in the Christmas spirit by singing and keeping them awake. And so he bamboozles everybody. He's loving the fact that he's giving everybody torture, especially the cat. And then Blair calls and says, "Hey guys, I know this is very last minute, but I'm coming home for Krimmas, and you're gonna have that party that you're always having, right? Yeah, okay, cool." And Nora's like, "Yeah, we're having the party. We're not going on a cruise." And Luther's like, "Huh?" And they get ready to go to actually do Christmas now, and so Luther has to get a Christmas tree, but he can't get a Christmas tree because it's like 2 days before Christmas, and they're already sold out of trees. So he asks his neighbor who is leaving for Christmas, but nobody's terrorizing him because he is decorated, if he can borrow one of his trees. And he's like, "Yeah, here's my key. You can go into my house when I'm not there, instead getting it right now while I am here." And he's like, "Cool. That's not going to come into a comedic premise later." And so he He tries to get the tree. Nora tries to get a ham. She has to chase the ham through a parking lot.
A hand or a ham?
A ham.
Okay.
She chases the ham through the parking lot, and chaos ensues and shit like that. And Luther tries to get the tree out of the house with a little kid who is Vic Frohmeyer's son, who he had to tackle for some reason.
Who was in Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, he's the little kid from Malcolm in the Middle. He's on the other end. He's not in the middle. Anyway,
he is not Malcolm.
He's not Malcolm. And
he is in.
And
which is
the cops see that he's taking a tree from someone's house, and so they arrest him. But then the little kid is like, "Hey, he has the keys to the house, so he didn't break in." They're like, "Scram with her," and so they get the tree, they get the ham, but everything's a disaster, and Luther tries to put up Frosty, but he nearly kills himself because Frosty falls on top of him, and he's essentially putting Frosty up with a noose, and they both fall, and then Luther gets dangled and all that, and then Vic comes to try and help, and then Luther says that it was a suicide attempt, but he read the instructions wrong. Actual quote from the movie. It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that was really funny.
It was really funny. And so Vic, because he's a cult leader,
I wanted to make a really bad joke.
Because he's a cult leader, Vic brings everybody together and is like, "Okay, the Kranks are on our side again because they've been
see everyone.
They've been forced to do Christmas.
Mary.
So
everybody's doing Christmas this year.
let's-
Mary, we gotta make them do it, Mary.
Let's put on a good Christmas party for Blair.
Let's be good neighbors,
She
Mary.
babysat our children and shit like that." And so they all put on a good Christmas thing.
Mary.
The police come in and they help as well. There's kind of a Santa Claus reference with a burglar trying to break into their house but falls off the roof, and Tim Allen goes, "Hey, get off of there!"
We were doing this earlier with the Lego thing, the Lego City. Hey!
Yeah. But the robber, joins the party and tries to rob him again, but then
They
gets
gonna rob us. They gonna take your Santa.
And guess so Blair shows up to the party with her fiance
and Ricky.
And they have a nice party and all that. Guess who shows up to the party? The Umbrella Santa from earlier in the movie, who is possibly actually real Santa. He is real Santa because at the end of the movie, he flies off with the sleigh and the reindeer, and Tim Allen's like, "Huh?" The end.
The end. What's our time at?
1842.
Fuck yeah, motherfucker! All right.
This is when Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
It is. Wait, how? What was the time?
1842.
That's pretty cool because
it's when
guess
Columbus sailed the ocean.
Guess what their street address is in the movie? 1482. I picked. I made note of that because for some reason they mentioned it and they put emphasis on it, and I wondered if that year had something to do with the theme of this movie, which it doesn't. So yeah.
I mean,
1482.
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
That's 10 years before Christopher Columbus came to America.
So what happened in the 10 years before Christmas?
Portuguese navigator Diego Chao became
Before
the
Christmas?
became the first European to enter the Congo.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, during
Christmas
this...
is about Christopher Columbus, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
War of Ferreira.
I mean, Columbus was, looking... he had to ask a bunch of countries to, fund it.
Yeah, and then the Portuguese is the only one who did, right? Was it the Portuguese?
I think it was Spain.
Or Spain?
I'm fairly sure it was Spain.
Yeah, okay, you're probably...
I could be wrong.
The capture of Berwick.
Portugal and Spain are the same thing.
Oh, December 23rd. Treaty of Arras divides the Burgundian Netherlands between King Louis XI of France and Archduke Maximilian I of Habsburg.
Okay.
So that happened in 1482.
All right, well, into the podcast, the recap early. So
into the
let's
podcast.
go.
Into the podcast. Bye.
Into the podcast.
Bye-bye.
So we watched this together.
Yep.
And it was very hard to not talk to these guys about
Spain.
it. What?
It was Spain.
It was Spain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Hit him with a classic joke.
Uh-oh.
Oh, who is it?
They gonna
If you
rob
had
us.
fucking tripped over the light, this thing would have immediately erupted into fire.
They gonna rob us. They gonna take up.
Claire, have you been in the podcast since we've gone to video? I do not believe you have. You were off screen on one.
Yeah. I took
You-
a nap on the couch.
Do you want to come
Do you
take a
want to
peek?
make an appearance? You can sit, you know.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Hey, it's Christina.
Whitehead.
Yes.
This is Claire.
I'm the wife.
I-
That tone.
Chris.
I did not mean it to sound like that.
What are you
He
doing?
was trying to close the door, but the
Are you
door,
okay?
your door is like broken.
I know. You don't fix it by shoving it harder into the side molding.
That's what she said.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have my
That's my
lemon?
catchphrase.
It is. It
Do you
is.
have my lemon?
Yes, I do.
Okay. It's okay, but spelled with an EY.
What if she forgot it? That'd be so.
That would be really funny. If she's like, I didn't even leave. I just stood outside for
Mary,
20
why
minutes.
didn't you get my lemon berry, Mary? Oh, I didn't mean for that to run.
Thank you.
See, the wife, everybody.
Let's go around.
Hey,
I
you know
know,
what?
but-
She said she gave herself that adjective, not us. That description, so we can't be canceled.
Got him.
Women.
We cannot be canceled.
What are you doing?
Showing my shirt.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Titties.
What?
What?
Because I'm showing my titties.
No, she said nice because of what it
Because
said.
of your shirt, not your tits.
Did you not realize that?
It's been a long day. It's been a very long day.
What else is that?
What's that?
Just try it.
Is it meat?
No.
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 That is clearly chocolate.
Sweet. It's not chocolate.
Well, that is clearly a sweet of some
It
sort.
is a sweet of some sort.
Oh, okay.
It's like
Well-
a cow. It's like a cow. Is this a date?
It's
No, this is a podcast, Chris.
Anyway, back to the movie.
We watched this together.
We watched this together, and I hate Christmas movies for the most part, and I'm not afraid to say that because here's the thing.
Did you hate this movie?
Here's the
He's
thing.
getting to it.
Here's the thing. Nothing new ever comes out for Christmas.
You say that, but Elf came out in 2004, I think.
That's true, but in our lifetime, where we were able to comprehend film, we were 5 maybe.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Very unpopular opinion. I'm not a fan of Elf.
and you're kicked off the podcast.
Polar Express came out, but I mean, I used to watch that in kindergarten.
Well, my point exactly
Yeah.
is that like the things that we've grown up with, like there's no.
there hasn't been like a new like really popular Christmas movie in quite a while.
Well, exactly.
Well, now they got the new Home Alone that came out on Disney Plus.
Home Sweet Home Alone.
Yeah.
With the guy from Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's got Ed Helms
What
and
guy?
The
the
oh
kid,
Jojo, it's you.
the funny friend.
The funny fat kid.
Oh.
Me.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's in it.
Yeah, he's like the main character in like Ed Helms and whatever her face is.
Enola
Kimmy.
Helms.
She was in the wonderful Kimmy Schmidt. I think that's the
Oh,
name.
Kimmy
of her. She
Schmidt.
was also in The Office.
The redhead, not
Ellen.
Pam.
Ellen, I think her name is, or
Wendy.
no, it
Doesn't matter.
Anyway, what's this movie about?
But my point being
Oh, okay.
is
Got
that
him.
I like this movie this time, and it may just be it may have been the environment,
Mhm.
but typically I don't like any Christmas movie, but I like this one, and I like Krampus, and I like Die Hard. Oh,
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert!
Well, wait. Did you say you didn't like Krampus? Or you
No, he said he
or
did.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. Number one, this isn't even a Christmas movie. It takes place during Christmas, whereas Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Even though it only takes place during
Would you
Christmas.
say The Sorcerer's Stone is a Christmas movie?
Why?
Because there's like a bit of it that takes place during Christmas.
Oh, really?
And it airs during Christmas.
No, I would not.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
You know, it's crazy you said that. But wait, Sorcerer's Stone is in the first Harry Potter movie, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what
For
the
some
first
reason,
movie is
yeah,
called.
you said Sorcerer's Stone. I was thinking
Sword in the
Sorcerer's
Stone?
No, Sorcerer's Apprentice for some reason.
Yeah, that one's a Christmas movie.
Now that would be that's what I want to see. I want to see a Harry Potter remake, but have Nick Cage as Snape.
Oh.
I think that'd be
man,
good.
that would be awesome.
It's not about
I
Christmas.
love your mother.
If they did, okay, but if they ever did like a prequel Harry Potter movie that centers on a young Snape, Adam Driver is who they're going to cast.
Where'd you see that? Facebook?
No,
Got him.
no,
Because you have.
no, it's something that I've thought of
You have.
before.
No,
They have.
No,
you have not thought.
I have thought of that.
He has
before.
a thought.
I've never seen anyone else talk about it. I'm sure they have.
Turtles have one tail. Okay.
What?
That's how you spell it. It's an acronym.
Turtles have. Oh yeah.
What's this movie about, Chris?
Krimmas.
Big monkey.
Big monkey. Okay, so it's somewhat of a flip side of Krampus.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with Krampus, it was it was being distraught at the fact that things stay the same. But with this, it's being discontent with the fact that things change.
Okay.
From whose perspective?
He's saying
from the Kranks perspective.
Specifically Tim Allen's character.
Yeah. When Blair leaves, Christmas is not the same to them anymore, so they rather, abandon Christmas because it's going to be hard to face the change. Whereas with Krampus, it's easier to abandon Christmas because things have stayed the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though you want it to change. So,
I had to think about it with your wording, but yeah.
Yeah. I
think
try to articulate it.
No, you're good. I think you're on the money, Jake.
It's about drive. It's about power.
We stay
hungry.
big monkey.
We stay
Big
power.
power.
No, I think this is so it's a cult.
Oh yeah.
But this is where it kind of gets tricky because the whole time they're trying to break away from the cult, but in the end they succumb.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I think it's a cult film in the same way that Starship Troopers is a propaganda film. Not that itself is propaganda, but yeah, it's a cult. It's a film about cults made by cults. If that makes sense, Kyle can articulate better.
Okay.
He knows what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've actually recently, I cannot stop
Joined a
watching.
cult.
Yeah, I actually recently joined a cult.
Ever heard of Heaven's Gate?
Pretty cool. Ever heard of the Church of God? It's very neat. Called him out. Church of Christ.
I bet you're real confused as to what his
I-
political
Ever
beliefs
heard
are
of-
now.
wait,
compared
ever
to
heard
that
of-
shirt?
Ever heard about Judaism?
What he just said.
I bet you're really confused about what my beliefs are. No, I dated a girl who was Church of Christ, and I went there a few Sundays, and it was a very odd experience. I had one guy try to argue with me why that dinosaurs were in the Bible, and I was like, no, they weren't, because people didn't know they existed. And he was like, no, you know Behemoth from Job, right? I'm like, yeah, that's a metaphor. Do you think God also slayed a giant serpent? Like, idiot. You don't know how to read the Bible.
you're
If you
monk
read,
deer.
okay, tangent. If you read the Bible the exact same way
Wait,
that
wake me up
no,
when he
shut
finishes.
the fuck up. Okay, if you read the Bible as an atheist the exact same way that a fundamentalist reads the Bible, perhaps you're both wrong. Anyways, I've been watching a lot of media, and and I keep seeing everything in terms of regression and progression, and it's really interesting because that's just like a character arc, right? But it's like every movie's the same now, because I've now got this lens in which I'm viewing things in somewhat artificially.
Film?
Yeah, and I've noticed that one thing that seems to be a commonality, specifically in Western movies, is that the regression is always selfishness, and the progression is always selflessness, because that's the emulation of the hero that you want to portray. Is the more selfless you are, the more heroic you are, and therefore the more progressed you are.
A lot of good indie films, though, aren't like that.
I agree. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like a lot of Western films, and I would say just like commercially viable ones, because those are ones that you can agree with on its face, because you're like, sure.
One I watched most recently was Nomadland.
The person who directed that directed Eternals.
Real
Yeah.
quick.
Chloe Zhao.
One,
Shout out.
One thing that I kind of missed in my recap that could probably be brought up later is that at the end of the movie, he's still kind of Luther is still kind of upset that they're not going on the cruise, but he instead finds a Christmas spirit because everybody's there, and he goes to Walt, who the neighbor that they've been feuding with, and decides to give him and his wife, who this may be her last Christmas because she has breast cancer. He gives them the cruise and even offers to.
Oh, you didn't say that in your.
Yeah,
recap.
and even offers to take care of their cat, which is.
It's like a recurring joke that he doesn't like it.
But it's a huge turning point for his character, which happens at the very end of the movie. And it's kind of similar to, like you were saying, the progression is selflessness, which shows up at the end of Krampus. And seemingly at the end, he's rewarded for that, but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And seemingly at the end of Christmas with the Kranks, he's rewarded because everything, goes back to normal. But then Santa Claus flies away. Which is why I have a theory.
Oh yeah, you did say this when we were watching it.
So,
Been blue balling me with it.
yeah.
I wasn't listening.
So
To what when he said it the first time.
Okay, go for it.
So, this is in the same universe as Krampus.
They're in the snow globe.
And they're in the snow globe. And they're in the same snow globe that Tim Allen's Santa Claus has in his collection. And Krampus is also a part of the Santa Claus universe. But this is a sequel. This is Santa Claus 4, also in the universe of Krampus. And Tim Allen Santa Claus lost Christmas, so now he's stuck in the Christmas with the Crank world in that snow globe. And another Santa Claus, who is actually Krampus, took over. And that's the Santa Claus that you see in the Christmas with the Cranks movie. Which is why he's so fucking, he gives sex offender vibes. He really does.
Who?
He has sex with lots of women, so I have to assume not.
Those two lines were surprisingly on the same topic.
Yeah, did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Very good.
It's still going.
Yeah.
Just continue interrupting.
Yeah, but no, the Santa Claus guy definitely gives, sex offender vibes.
Marty?
Yes.
So let me ask you. I forgot what I was going to ask.
But his name's Marty, and in Santa Claus 3, Jack Frost is played by Martin Short.
Yeah.
So, Martin, just saying.
Yeah.
I'm right. All right.
So are you saying that
It's just Tim Allen's.
that those Martys are the same person?
They're a variant in the multiverse theory.
Oh, well, you know what? There you go. If it's multiverse, it means it's real.
Yep.
I just am so tired of the MCU.
And guess what? Santa Claus is owned by Disney, so therefore there is a multiverse version of Santa Claus. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Santa Claus
Unfortunately-
is in all comic books too.
Unfortunately,
All comic universes.
I cannot argue with that.
I know
Because
you can't.
If there's a multiverse, then that means that it's real.
I know you can't because it's a stupid and awesome theory, and Jake loves those.
Well, yes, it's like how everything's connected to Chicken Little. So, yes, I agree. Back to what we were talking about. About right in your face. About things being cults. Yeah, I forgot. Kyle, pick it up.
Okay. Well, like I was talking about before, Chris was like, "I have a theory."
You went. Go ahead. You've been blue balling me. That's exactly what you said.
I
Okay,
always
okay.
say go ahead because I would just Anywho, I mean, well, it seems that the rest of the neighborhood is kind of like the typical like conservative like suburbanites kind of thing, where you have that community of people who are just a collection of families who live in the same kind of socioeconomic class, have roughly the same kind of upbringing, and they all just do things together as a community. And it seems that when Tim Allen's and Jamie Lee Curtis, when their daughter moves away, they're like, we don't really want to be a part of that community without our own family, which I think speaks to individuality in a sense, and that communal purpose can only get you so far. Not that it's a bad thing by any means, but it's not the collective is not superior to the individual. It never can be. In any time that it is, well, people rebel.
Well, I also think it begs
a lot of
question.
times violently.
Well, the collective is more important to the individual when you're in a cult.
Yes.
Yes, but I also think it begs the question, and I don't know. This isn't answered ever, but why were they there in the first place?
Who?
The Kranks.
Like in that neighborhood?
Yeah.
And they just live there.
Yeah, but sure.
Well, so
but
Tim
why
Allen works in the city, and it's more
Right.
economical to live in the suburban area outside of it. Like that happens all the time in big cities.
Well, I guess what you're saying is that, like, since he doesn't really seem to like anyone in the neighborhood, why are they in that neighborhood?
Right. That's what I'm, because I'm sure there's other neighborhoods to live in.
Yeah,
around
but
there.
I mean, that's the same question when you have a haunted house movie. Why don't they just move? It's expensive.
Oh, that's true. All right.
And when this film was made, well, I mean, it was the early 2000s, but like, it's not like the housing market was like the best.
I mean, when they're already spending $6,000 on Christmas, so that's
which is absurd.
you gotta have money to burn.
Which is absurd.
Very easy. Here, let me see your card.
It also helps when what even is his job?
He's I don't know. I mean, he works at an office.
I know he goes.
He's got a white collar office job. Means he fits in with like 40% of the population, or the population at an office, or whatever.
Yeah,
works.
I can. Also, another question is I meant to bring this up earlier is like, it is very absurd that like the people just won't let them live.
Yeah. Well, and I think obviously that's like the comedy element,
right?
Because you started out in the real world. Like comedic movies are always they start in the real world, and then the inciting incident is the crazy comedy, and then the people who it's happening to have to react to it as like the straight man, and then everybody else, in good comedy, I would say. Because if everybody's acting goofy, then you're not grounded in any sense. But I do agree. Like it's definitely like crazy. And it speaks to, because I think that you do see that a lot, in more tight knit like neighborhoods where people do things together. Everybody's always like, they're doing things together. Jamie Lee Curtis she's a housewife, right? And the only time we see her doing her own thing is when she's out with other friends. And I just kind of assume that they're also housewives who live in that neighborhood, because I think we see them. They know each other pretty well. It just seems like they live near each other, and it seems like it's just that community that becomes inseparable, and then when you try to separate, that causes great tension. Yeah. So, I do think it is interesting though, because at the end, the community does come back and help them.
Which is why I was positing the idea that it's a in the same way like in Starship Troopers was made. This film was made, right? So. They were trying to defy the cult, and at the end of the day, they did come back because it was in their best interest to be a part of that cult.
Yeah.
Which I think is very interesting for the film to do. For almost over half the film, put them in this situation where it's like, we are leaving. We're done. No Christmas. It's not, we're not going to be here for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's, we are boycotting it entirely. And Daddy Krank says that.
Daddy Krank.
They boycott it entirely, except
I tried not to laugh. I tried not to laugh.
Yeah, and then Mommy Krank is like,
Mommy Krank
is like, we gotta pay the $600. we gotta pay the $600 or no vacay. And
$10 a sash.
Why is everybody coming here?
$10 a sash.
Now you have
Oh, it's
someone
not
$10.
ash.
Oh yeah, $10.
Is that
hold
Kyle?
on.
And in there talks about Dan Aykroyd's character says the sins of the father should not be paid for by the daughter, which I think is funny because A, it sounds biblical,
Yeah.
but B, I think that is like an actually great line. Like just in general.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, well, it's essentially being like, you should not pay for the mistakes of the people who came before you because you did not make those mistakes. Yes. Yes, this much is true. Reparations are not needed because
Bro.
who pays? Because the question is, A, did you make the choice to do the act? I'm not gonna say it because we're on YouTube. To do the act that is in need of reparations. Did you choose to do that? And then B, if you didn't, well, or we track down your ancestors. What if you have mixed lineage? How much are you paying then? Like it doesn't make sense at all. Like three generations.
Are you
like,
saying it doesn't make sense to reprimand someone for someone?
not reprimand? That's different. To pay in any sense for something that your ancestors have done.
You're saying that's what you're referring to.
Yes.
Yes, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it
Okay.
doesn't. It doesn't make sense because, well, I mean, think about the justice system. If my dad goes and kills somebody, but my dad is no longer alive by the time the trial comes, I don't go to jail for that unless I had a part in it, which I did not.
Well,
But no,
That-
like
that we know
seriously.
of.
What's going on?
Nothing. Do not bring it up again.
oh my God, I was for a second there. I was like, "Whoa, what?"
What's
Yeah.
going on? Okay.
But no-
He said, "Don't bring it up again."
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's that in the wall?
Oh my God.
Got him.
Why would you?
Why?
I think it's funny. Like
It
it's
is
funny.
pretty
It's funny, but it's anyways.
I forgive you, Chris.
Thank you. And that's what Christmas is all about. Forgiveness.
Oh, thank you. That's what I thought. That's what I forgot earlier.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad we got there. Yeah. What like why are they boycotting Christmas? Like what like think about how like I understand like okay, anyways, I'm going to say this. Think about how bad that is to boycott Christmas. It's not necessarily to boycott like let's say the holiday itself.
Yeah.
You know, like if you have like a different religion or you just don't celebrate Christmas, that's whatever. To boycott Christmas, not the Christmas holiday, Christmas is to boycott the spirit of Christmas. And the spirit of Christmas, generally you could say, is the spirit of giving a gift, right? In the original sense, the gift is Jesus Christ, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the gift from God to humans for redemption, salvation,
Yeah.
all the good stuff, right? And then we celebrate that because, well, like in all Christianity, you have the character of Jesus, and everyone who follows Jesus is trying to emulate that, but on a smaller scale because you can't emulate that fully. And so Christmas, in a sense, is doing that which God has done, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
It's finding your people, the people of God, the people you care about, the chosen, you could say, and giving them that gift, right? That's what it's about. And for them to boycott that, I mean, that's kind of messed up.
Well, so let me ask you this: were they actually previously celebrating the Christmas spirit?
That's a good
Or,
question.
or were they just going through the motions?
Yeah.
Because to me, it seems like the latter. Because everything that they talked about with Christmas was like just donations. It's monetary things.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, we
Giving charity.
we have to make our donation to Tots for Toys. We have to buy our calendar. We have to get the tree. We have to do all these things. We have to spend this absurd amount of money because it's Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what
Oh,
Daddy...
and he only agreed, or the wife only agrees initially when he says that he'll match all the charity donations from last year.
Right. So
But not a cent more.
It's yes, they are giving, but they're not.
It's not the spirit of giving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that Daddy Crank was kind of done with that, going just through the motions for the sake of it's Christmas.
Yeah.
So I think that that's kind of where it's like, okay, I don't want to do this again for the sake of doing it again, for the sake of keeping up face.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily even mean with the spirit of Christmas that's something that's the holiday season specific. Because I think it is that. I think one of the best ways that you can tell that you truly love and or care about somebody is based on how much you want to give of yourself to them.
Yeah, it's like the idea of like Valentine's Day, where it's like, oh, you do super nice things for your partner on Valentine's Day. Well, why don't you do that all the time?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's kind of the same thing here too, which is again is why I think it kind of presents that cult tonality too.
Yeah,
it's like unless you participate in this tradition, then you are not one of us. Yeah, and we will force you to be one of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree, and it's just like I was saying, it's like. With Christmas, it's generally, you give gifts to other people, and I'm certainly guilty of this myself, which is like, you fear not being able to get the people that you care about anything, because I don't really have like a lot of money, especially after buying that camera.
No money.
Yeah, but it's like I don't have a very large income monthly at this point, especially in December. Since I work at a university and they are closed for
I do too.
Half of sure, and they're closed for half of December, and it's like you do worry, and you're like, man, I don't have like the money that I can give to people, and I certainly worry about that in many aspects, but I think what's interesting is again going back to what I said. I can tell who I do care about based on how excited I am to give them something. Mm-hmm. Whether that's a gift or
your presence.
Or just like time, because that's all that I have left to give. $10. Spider-Man 2. And I think that's kind of profound and something that I had not really thought about until quite recently, and it's interesting because when it hits you like that, you go, "Wow, okay," because you wonder. It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe this is just me, but I've wondered. It's like, who do I actually care about, or who am I supposed to? Because you are supposed to care about some people depending on their relation to you, and you go, well, who is it that I really do? And I think that's a good bellwether test. I don't know if I used that correctly.
I don't either. I don't know what that is. So. It's the one where it's the 3 stacks of circles and you move them.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good test to find out. So maybe you should do that yourself before you got a week until Christmas hits. Maybe you should do that yourself and find out who it is that you care about. Maybe emulate giving the gift on Christmas Day, but how about be more like God and give gifts to the people that you care about.
Well, and truly give. Not
give something of meaning.
Right, not for the sake of it's Christmas, I got to get you something.
Give something that saves.
I found out, and this is not to toot my own horn, but I found out my mom was like, "Hey, what do you want for Christmas?" And I was like, I don't know. Nothing really.
Yeah.
I don't care that much. But the idea of time, I know we're getting a little off topic, but it all circles backwards from when you began, $10.
Jinsaki. My favorite White House press secretary.
Okay. Anyway, Christmas. I was listening to a seminar, and this guy was talking about time in relation to family. And there was this. He was like, "Hey, what about you? How often do you see your family? Or how old are your parents?" She was like, 60. And he was like, "How often do you see them?" And this person was like, "Oh, maybe 3 times a year." And so he was like, "Okay, based on the average lifespan, around 80, that gives you 20 more years. And if we let's see, you multiply that by the number of times you see in year 3, you have 60 more times to see your parents."
Mm-hmm.
And initially, that sounds like a good amount. But then when you think about it, it's nothing.
Well, the fact that you can put a number on it at all is scary.
Is horrifying.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think that kind of, that does kind of play into this film a little bit too. More so on the whole Blair thing, because they could have easily been like, "Oh, we decided that we were going to go on this cruise." They could have easily done that, and I think everything would have been fine.
Yeah.
I think Blair would have been like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Yeah, you're already planning it. Like,
right.
Yeah.
You already spent all this stuff, but when it comes down to it, it's like, no, I want to spend my time with the people I care about.
Well, initially, like Tim Allen's character, Daddy Crank, if you will, he was like, he was bringing up the point that you was like, we can still go on this cruise, and then they can just Blair and the fiance can just stay
Enrique
can just stay here, and he was like, it'll be all good. Everybody gets a romantic getaway. I wish I can remember what the mom says, but she says something to the effect of like, if you can't realize what you have here is better than anything you could purchase, then maybe you don't deserve it. Something to that effect. That's not a quote, but it was something similar to that. And that's really powerful,
Well, and again, to go back to the cult idea, how interesting is it? I don't know, I keep using the word interesting, but yeah, so that communion is powerful, but in the light of basically being forced back into that realm after trying to escape the clockwork of it, you end up falling back into it.
Yeah. And I do think I think it's interesting that the film, essentially from the inciting incident, has this drive, and then it completely...
The power. The
idea
idea of being hungry
and
devouring
the food.
And it completely turns it on its head to give it something different. I do think that is interesting. Very, actually. But...
Oh, very.
Very. This is what I was going to say earlier.
No.
What?
Why are we back on this?
What?
I think last names, or not last names. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it now.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it now. It's not bad. It was more so funny about names, in particular women names, but
Murray. What time are we at?
Yo, mama.
Okay.
Because
No, sorry.
We're good. You have to take that out. Oh, you guys are gonna lose your shit when you see the Krampus episode.
What do you mean?
What?
Oh, because we mentioned
There is a whole lot of redaction. You'll see.
Mostly out of things I say.
Oh, I had to take an entire 2 minutes to
Really?
Chris took out.
Oh.
Yes!
Yes!
Because it was awful! It was like straight up would not fly on YouTube at all. I was like, oh my god. I was watching, I was like, I do not remember this. I don't know why I was calling somebody.
Yeah, like Nate in the Starship Troopers episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no.
I don't think we took that out on
No,
the audio
you didn't.
version.
You did out of the audio version?
No.
Because I exported that earlier and then
Oh, yes.
oops.
It's not on YouTube, though, so
but
it's
I took the cake on
I'll take.
I
the
would
Christmas
pay to
one.
listen to the unedited version of the.
It wasn't even that bad.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Okay.
It's about drive.
Well, see, every
It's
time you
about
say
power.
that, I lose what I was saying. So,
So was the old man at the end actually Santa Claus?
yes.
Marty, yeah.
But
was that?
I don't think he was. I think he was Krampus.
Anyway,
I
Conspiracy
really do.
theorists. Yeah.
I'm-
I do want to go back to the selfishness point because I wrote this down yesterday and I thought it was kind of interesting. Well, that's when we watched it. I was like, wait, when did we watch this? Yeah. But I said, talking about the reversion, because and this is my own like reading into things. I think that selfishness is like the root human action to take, and I think selflessness is something that has to be taught. And I think that's the reason that we have laws, religion, etc. Things that guide you morally is because you're not born a moral person.
well, why does selfishness exist? What's the reason behind that?
Well, I think you could say one evolution, because you
Go
want
even
to
more
propagate
base.
you want to propagate your own bodily like continuation, but also the continuation of your species, or specifically your genetic code. So I think that's a selfishness, and I think that's the animal nature that you have.
Well, to more root, survival.
Yeah. Right. No, I mean, stop looking at me. Okay.
Okay.
Jinx.
Okay. Jinx, show me a Coke.
So I think maybe selfishness repossesses you when the thing that made you selfless by necessity goes away. And maybe that reversion is expected, even natural, though not moral, or as Tim Allen's character finds out, meaningful.
You should post it on Facebook. Hey, follow Kyle Peterzak on Facebook for some awesome philosophy quotes. Or his own quotes. They're original.
You having a fun time, Kyle?
No.
He's
Very-
got Bill Bird.
Merry Christmas. Woo.
Merry Christmas!
Well, when you say Merry,
Get
it's
the
not
topic
Christmas.
off of me.
Get the what?
Topic off of me. You see, it's a joke because of what you said before, and then we changed it, and then I brought it back up to make it even funnier. And then you asked the question because your skull is too fucking thick with just a
Hey,
CK.
damn right he's
Just
thick.
a CK. No double C's. Triple C's, get them out of here. So unbelievably thick in the British sense
And
of
it-
the word that you cannot
And
possibly... If I emitted an
Bluetooth in it.
if I put a
British.
if I put a microchip in your head and put an EMP blast directly against your skull, it would be perfectly fine. That's how fucking thick your goddamn brain is.
Well, yeah, because it's so massive and full of knowledge. I think you mean my skull.
You want to know something interesting? Women's brains are 15% smaller than men's brains, and but the thing is that they can process cognitively faster than men because they have to get across less surface area.
Yeah,
So size is not the marker of intelligence.
Are you saying
also women are able to multitask easier than
Are you
men.
saying that big brain
he's
means
not
more
a
stupid?
misogynist.
I have a question. What does this have to do with Christmas?
You don't understand, Abe.
I suppose not.
It'll make sense when we post it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the unedited version, so there's
There's a whole nother layer where we don't take anything
You
out.
just cut out everything I'm saying, and you guys are reacting to nothing, and then you're just like, oh yeah.
No. It's just all. Every time you talk, there will be a Peter Griffin on the screen.
That's a callback to the fucking
Starship Trooper.
Yeah, no, Ash versus Evil Dead.
Was that the one? Oh yeah.
Peter
Okay.
Griffin
Yeah.
on the screen. Yeah.
That was all me.
Yeah.
I downloaded that JPEG and put it on the file. Yeah, I know he's practicing.
Anyway, Do you keep going, or are we done?
I mean, where are we at? Time?
103.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right.
We
See you guys later.
We talked about reparations. We talked about selfishness.
We talked about Avery busting in, talking about women having sex.
Yeah.
Men
having sex.
Excuse me.
specifically Post Malone with women.
Anyway.
Well, good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him. I'm happy. I burped. We also talked about Jake's lab partner, woman.
Who we don't know her name because he doesn't know her name because he talked to her for like 2 hours and didn't get her name.
Small pee-pee move.
Small pee-pee move.
Or I'm playing the long game.
Long pee-pee.
Because she said she liked she said she liked
pee-pee.
rom-coms. And what's more rom-commy than
Did you say commie?
than having this I already explained this to you.
Yeah. What's more rom-com than busting past TSA and barging onto her plane and causing an international incident to profess the love that she does not have for you?
What's more rom-com than killing the dirty fucking commies?
What's more wrong?
That is the first time I've ever heard him curse.
Hold on. Everybody just shut up for a second.
You haven't heard him rap.
God damn it, Kyle.
He doesn't rap.
God fucking damn it! What's more
He does rap. I've heard him.
What's more rom-com than
And then end it right there. Right there.
That's why I wanted the pause so I could take it out.
Well,
Oh, fuck,
And
man.
then went down to Georgia. He was looking for his whole deal. He was in a bind. He was in a grind. He was looking to make a deal. Hey, that's pretty good, huh?
All right, ready or not scale, this is a 0.
yeah.
There are literally no
Nobody-
explosions.
No
Nobody
explosions,
blows up, yeah.
unfortunately. Chris?
No, what I was saying was the first meeting is a coincidence. It's whatever. All right.
Are we still talking about this?
Then-
What the hell? Dude, the skull is so fucking thick.
We're so far removed from Christmas at this point.
No.
Yeah, you had to be
No.
here for
Hour and
the
5
Krampus
minutes.
No.
episode. That was
The-
the one.
This and the second meeting is another coincidence, but it's like, whoa, what are the chances that?
I think you could have done another second one, though.
I agree,
Yeah.
and I wanted to. It just didn't happen that way.
I know. And
But the second one's like,
sucks.
oh, what are the chances that would happen? And then the second one, we're more comfortable with each other, and we have a decent conversation, and then we leave, and there's kind of this long, like, oh, I kind of wish they would have made a move.
Can I do my
I
rap
don't
on
know
you?
if I'm ever going to see them again, right?
Didn't you
And there's this,
Yeah,
and
I
there's
have
this
to drive to
longing.
Huntsville.
And there's this
Can I
longing
leave?
for it, and then the third meeting, it's like,
Claire, can you hand me?
oh my
a
god, that's
water,
them.
please?
A what?
A water.
I don't have water.
You don't have water?
Didn't you tell her to listen to this podcast so she's gonna listen to this whole rant?
Actually, yes, that's the goal. Actually,
Do you have some kind of liquid I can
she
use?
said she wanted to listen to it.
I did, but
I
I
didn't
need
say you
liquid
should listen.
To
She said,
clean my
"Oh,
pipes.
I need you to hit me up with that."
Yeah.
Is what she said.
Please be careful with the wire. Don't
Anyway,
hurt yourself.
Points.
Make sure you like this episode. Give us a review, please. I swear to God. I swear to God. That was Keanu Reeves in Knock Knock. Why are you doing this? Because he's like in the ground. Give us a review. Make sure you follow the podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts, but also
Doesn't he also scream, "You suck my dick"?
he does say that.
He does.
He goes, "You suck my dick! You suck my dick! You came into my house
And sucked my dick.
Nickel for every time Jake has said that. We'd have 2 nickels just then.
on YouTube, but also send us an email.
New Year's Day is on Saturday.
Pacino Podcast.
Yeah.
Pacino Podcast at gmail.com. Recommendations,
something for
whatever you want. We got a couple new ones in coming
Oh, we
up.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, for the new year. For the new year.
Yeah.
Ah.
There's one. Well, with Mary, you see, she sent us an email, and then
Mary.
Sam.
Mary.
Wait, was it Mary?
Mary.
Mary.
Mary, and then Sam too. So
Sam.
keep on looking for that. See, people
Yeehaw.
interact with us. Okay.
That's from, you wouldn't fucking know because you're not a real Patriot. All right, you ready?
Let me burp. I got a burp.
Yeah.
Oh, it's trap gas.
Accountant.
All right.
Hope it's not a kidney stone.
Getting kinda cranky. Christmas kinda stanky. I told my wife we gonna leave and did the hanky-panky, but it's not even Saturday. Going on a cruise to rescue half my salary. Now I got a bruise cause Dan Aykroyd is mad at me. I don't wanna lose my sanity, and vanity is telling me to answer the call to violent sound of Silent Night. Watching White Denzel Washington Flight is a movie that he's in. John Goodman is in it too. Winter is cold, I got a flu. Neighborhood crazy like a zoo. I'ma take a shit and wipe my poo.
Planes, trains, potatoes, tomatoes, lanes, beans, and automobiles. Planes, trains, potatoes, tomatoes, beans, greens, and automobiles.
Christmas!
Stout and Saurkraut, motherfucker! You guys didn't say
Fire!
Mary, put that out, Mary.
Mary! It's the flame, Mary.
Mary.
It's the flame of our love.
You guys
It's been ignited, Mary.
no,
Been
extinguished.
extinguished it, Mary.
Flame of Allah. And then he put it out.
Hey, nothing's more romantic than that.
Stop!
You guys didn't say it.
Stout and Saurkraut, baby.
Stout and Saurkraut.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Mary!
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you cut it right.